Hi, it's Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. Today we're doing discussion topics, and it's Andy's turn to pick a discussion topic, or you have picked one. And so your question you raised are photographers / videographers becoming too intrusive at gigs? So would you like to expand on that?
You fucking killjoy.
Yeah, I mean, this has become apparent from a show I went to recently. I'm not going to say where it was and the bands involved, but we do it. We film gigs, or you certainly do, Dave, and you do it very, very well and very professionally. Club 85 in particular, there's GoPros on the wedges at the front of the stage. You've got your drum camera, and you've got the two main cameras at the back of the venue, set up to record the wide shots of the venue. And that, I think everybody involved really appreciates what you do. Bands involved, the people who go to the gigs like washing them back. So that is excellent. That's not what I'm talking about. The show I went to a couple of weeks ago, there were 4 people with, quite good gear. Yeah, quite high tech gear.
Yeah.
I found out later that none of them were affiliated to the band or the venues. I mean, one band had one person sort of capturing some footage and some photos, but there were 3 people who were there for, I don't know, whatever reason, because they didn't go up to the bands afterwards and say, here's my card, this is my name, if you want my footage, I'll be glad to let you have it. My photos will be on this page or this website. They're just there for their own reasons. But more sort of relevant than that for me was the fact that they were intrusive. There was one guy in particular. He was quite tall, quite big framed guy, and he had a camera sort of braced against himself at this sort of level, and he was just moving backwards and forwards and side to side with no regard to anybody else's view or anybody else's positioning in where they were watching the bands. To the extent at one point, me and this other quite large guy were sitting there watching, enjoying the band, and he sort of got wedged in between us, and we both sort of unconsciously made an effort to sort of
do that.
Shoulder charge him out of the way.
Well, yeah,
You sandwiched him out.
sandwiched him in so he couldn't move any further, and we just sort of stood there watching the band, enjoying it, and then he couldn't move and didn't affect anybody else for about a minute. And this went on to the effect that the second band in the evening, I sort of stayed at the back of the venue because I had a better view there without these guys sort of in the way. And to top it off, because of their intrusiveness and their closeness to the stage and their attitude to everything else involved knocking the microphone stand of the singer into his face, damaging, he bruised his lip and it fell on.
With
and
the
damaged
lens of the camera?
No, his equipment knocked the microphone towards the singer, hit him in the face, broke the stand, broke the mic, and injured this guy's arm as well. And I just thought, I mean, I was there taking videos, but I was conscious of people around me. I sort of stayed in one place and kind of filmed it like that, or I was at the back holding it high. I wasn't covering the whole front stage area, getting in people's way, even getting in the way of the performing musicians and the singers and everything. So the question was, and the point raised, are we seeing this across other shows locally and nationally? I know we all like to capture clips, but how should this be addressed? What are the sort of protocols that people should be following to make sure everybody enjoys the gig and it is captured for enjoyment?
So I would say there's 2 things around it. So if we go back to 15, 20 years ago, you would not have seen photographers coming in with that sort of equipment at a local gig level. It just wouldn't have been happening. Not unless the venue or the bands were asking to do it. Now with the accessibility of equipment and cameras and the quality of what you can get now for the price you can get it, everyone fancies themselves as a stage photographer. And because everyone wants to get out of the 9 to 5, so everyone wants to try and build their own business. They're like, well, if I do this, I get some great shots, I can build up some freelance work and get it out. So now everyone wants to come to gigs and do that. And the easiest way to do that is capture at local level. Great way.
This is free, by the way, as well. Free gig.
Free gig. So again, but they can go in, they can turn up the gig, they can get loads of shots, and they can use it for their portfolio. The problem you then have is, if you think about gigs previously, they'd have had security barriers. The photographers would always be with the security on the other side of the security, so they wouldn't be interacting with the audience. But in local gigs, you don't have security barriers. You wouldn't have that sort of opportunity for having a photography bit. So now we have 2 problems. We have more accessibility, more people trying to get into freelance photography to try and get out of the 9 to 5 rat race, if you like, and want to do their own business. and nowhere for them to be. Venues can do something about that, so you can only have official photographers. So for the first show we did, we actually got approached by a photographer who said, can I come and do photography? Great, not a problem. Didn't actually turn up, the person in the end, but they could have done it. And what we'd have done is we'd have seen them and gone, yes, that's fine. And when at the last show that we did, the photographer came up to me and said, is it okay if I capture shots? And I was like, yeah, cool, no problem. And didn't have a massive problem with that one if you wanted to go around. What we can do as a venue or as a promoter is set some ground rules around it. And that's another thing you can do. So where they're at the front, you can be very clear about, you can move to one side of the stage. We don't want you moving back and forth constantly. And we don't want you going around on the actual stage, because we don't want you interacting with inside the band, going up to the band. They're trying to put a show on. So I've seen a few photographers got on the stage and start taking pictures of the fucking drummer. It's like, no, fuck off. That's not, you're ruining it for the audience. You're someone who shouldn't be on stage right now. So you can set some ground rules. The problem is most venues and most promoters don't want to set it. I remember Club 85. I mean, fucking hell, you can't get near the front of the stage with Club 85. But I will say that when it gets really busy, like it melts the Masses final, the photographer, all the guys that are doing photography did move to the side. They leant over the cabs
They
or
had
whatever.
to for Dead Flesh.
There was no way they were going to get involved. Their equipment would be smashed. But there have been times when I've looked at my video, because I film from the side of the stage and I capture the front, and all I see is about 8 or 9 people all with cameras doing this, filming or clicking away, and I'm like, fucking hell, there's a lot of photographers here. So should they be on a list, and should it be approved only? That would be something that venues could do. There's nothing to stop someone buying a ticket though, and being at the front and taking pictures. You can't stop them from doing that, unless they're causing a nuisance. Then you can stop. You can go in and kind of have a word and say, "Oh, excuse me, look, you're knocking into other people here. You need to stop that." Same as you would if someone was causing a nuisance in a pit or something and was getting it out in the way of or causing problems. You could always stop that. But if you're a photographer and so a lot of them don't want to pay for tickets, they want to just come in and do the thing, and you can approve that as a guest list, but then they follow your rules. But I have seen a lot. There seems to be an abundance of people that want to get into this because you just need a camera. And local shows are the best way of doing it because it's cheap, easy, and you get a lot of content for very little money. And these people are then, their ideal aim is to get enough recognition so that they can then get onto bigger jobs and get into like the bigger concerts. And
so what would these guys do with the photographs they got from the
Portfolio building, really.
mainly they'll send some of them to the bands, they'll put their tags on, and then the bands are basically posting on their socials with their pictures on, with their logo.
Well, this hasn't happened as far as I know. This is we're 2 weeks on, so.
And a lot don't. And if you've got to imagine, if every time you play a gig, someone's taking loads of photos, then the likelihood of you using them all the time as a band, you're not going to use all those pictures.
What started do you know that infamous Guns N' Roses Axl storming off stage when they did that tour with Metallica?
Oh yeah, someone took a picture of him.
Yeah, it was somebody who didn't have a press pass, and he took offence to that, didn't he?
Well, this.
And stormed off stage, and that led to riots.
This is pre-smartphones.
Yeah, of course, this is 1991.
So no one had any way to film any of the gigs.
Yeah.
And so you only had official releases. So if you had a digital camera or filming, you were not allowed to film concerts.
No.
Now it's a completely different world. People encourage you to take film footage.
But I'm surprised what you said, Andy. You know, you've given a good example there of the knock-on effect where the equipment has been such an obstruction, it's actually injured the vocalist. Yeah. So to me, there's two things. You've already answered it. There is a difference between grassroots level. That's why you're going to get more here. Free entry, build up the portfolio. And then there are more ground rules when it comes to, let's just take any band, Pupil Slicer touring with Mono last year. You would have to go through the noise cartel or the PR company to apply for a press pass. You had to specify in advance if you were bringing a photographer. Yeah. And there would be a designated area. Yeah. That's how it's run, isn't it? At a higher level, the mid-tier level.
Once you get to mid-tiers and above,
But I mean, you'd never be able to do that. If you went to go and see Metallica at Manchester Evening News Arena or whatever it's called now, no chance. You wouldn't be able to bring in a camera, would you?
No.
You just wouldn't. You'd be forbidden. But I didn't realise the extent that it was obstructing the band and the spectators. And you don't want to stop anyone from, like, as you said, trying to build up a side revenue away from the rat race to eventually do something they love. Go and do it. But you've got to be considerate of others, haven't you? That's the issue here.
I think it's mainly whoever's putting the gigs on just needs to set some guidance between it.
And that's why
not enough people doing, because everyone can be a promoter nowadays.
Yeah.
All you've got to do is pay the money to book the venue. That's what we've done. But we never set anything for the photographers, but then if we'd seen too many of them, I might have gone up and had a word. But there wasn't a need for us at this one. But maybe that's again something like we talked about one of the other things, but it's something we need to look at. But
especially when you get a gig and there are more photographers than spectators.
Well, that was a danger at some point for this one,
yeah, there's always a risk. But anyway, interesting discussion. Tommy, let us know what you think in the comments down below. If you like the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.